You can see all the traffic racing around me in this traffic circle and the beautiful fountain behind me. It would look right at home someplace in Europe, but the fact of the matter is we're not. We're far away. Where are we? I'll reveal that in a moment. In today's episode, we take another round of viewers' questions covering such diverse topics as my opinion on the Erwin Active to the 4x4 Winnebago Revel. Plus, we get to see Dean from Leisure Travel Vans dance a little jig for us. All that and more on today's episode. We're at the Marin Traffic Circle and the Marin Fountain in the North Bray neighborhood in the Berkeley Hills. And this whole area has a very special story. It wasn't actually supposed to be a neighborhood. Where I'm standing right now was supposed to be the entrance to the new state capital of California. In 1907, the Berkeley Development Corporation put this Beaux-Arts structure in an effort to lure the legislature out of Sacramento to this area. But it didn't quite work out. In a referendum, the people of California decided that wasn't for them. Why? Because Berkeley was a dry city in 1907. So, alas, the developers turned this into a beautiful neighborhood and left the Beaux-Arts fountain for us to enjoy. We have a fantastic day today. I love episodes like this where we take viewer questions because there are so many interesting questions and so many viewers are so thoughtful. And I am looking forward to answering some of those questions today for all of you. So let's get started. I want to thank all of my subscribers. I hit a big milestone with the last video. I hit 1,000 subscribers and I couldn't have done that without all of you. So for all of my subscribers, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Let's read some of the comments from some of the viewers from last week's episode. Cosmo Fitz says, shame the manufacturers a lot. They will not change until the message gets out. Overkill the message. All right, the next one comes from Non Nom. I don't know, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your username correctly. And Non Nom says, Ultra Mobility, thank you so much for the meticulous reviews of the flaws and low quality cabinetry assembled by big RV manufacturers. It's about time they open their eyes and fix their quality problems. That is why I'm looking at Coach House and think their quality is a notch above the big guys. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Nom nom. We have Joe Dubo says, see the ghost over his shoulder at 6 minutes. It does indeed. I'll put it up. It does indeed look like a ghost. It's not a ghost. I actually film in my mobile studio in my Ascent. And what I try to do is I try to find an interesting location. So last week's episode was at Indian Rock Park in Berkeley. And across the street from me is a part of the park. And what you're seeing is a reflection of someone in yellow at that park reflecting in my window behind me and looking like they're kind of climbing the steps as a ghost to the rock behind me. So that is an interesting find. Thank you very much, Joe, for pointing that out. Good eyesight. And Kathleen Farrell says, hi, it's nice to know I'm not the only one whose quality standards are high. I recently went to my first RV show. The place was packed, but I thought it was worth going and getting a feel of these vehicles in person. I was shocked by the size of some of them and disappointed in the quality of most of them. I couldn't imagine cooking and sleeping in any of them. I thought it would be difficult to do any quality of living without them quickly falling apart. I won't give up my dream and look forward to seeing a Pleasureway Ascent in person one day. Well, thank you all for your comments. This is just great to see and hear people sharing their experiences. The episode I did answering viewer questions turned out to be one of my most popular and liked videos, and I really enjoyed it. And since then, I've gotten just a bucket full of new questions covering a wide variety of topics. So this week, I'm just going to choose 5 questions which I found interesting and which I think you guys will find interesting, and I've tried to answer them. So with that in mind, let's get started. David Schultz asks, where do you place leisure travel vans? Well, David, I have a soft spot for leisure travel vans. When I was first looking in 2014 for my first Class B, they were right up there. I really wanted to get a leisure travel van. And at that point, they were in the Class B market. They're no longer in the Class B market. I think that Leisure Travel Van has very high quality. If you look at their fit and finish, the type of components that they use, their build quality and quality control, it all seems to be very high. And I would put them right up there with Pleasureway in terms of quality level. Now, when they were in the Class B market, they were giving Road Trek a run for their money in terms of innovation. They were the first to put in the large sunroofs in their RVs, and now you see them in other RVs, but they did that years before anyone else. They were the first to put in a slider in their RV. They had in their Free Spirit SS, they bought the Mercedes chassis van that had the sliding doors on both sides, on the passenger and driver's side. And they removed the door from the driver's side and had the opening, and they literally put a slide-in in there with a Murphy bed. I was blown away by that. And if you look at old videos of that from 2015, of the Free Spirit SS, it's really incredible. It's lust-worthy when you look inside of it. It feels like you're in something much larger. They have beautiful tile work, beautiful curved cabinetry in it, and then the back end of it is unheard of at the time. They have a full dry bath in the back. So they have a separate shower area, and then they have a sink and toilet area. And it's all beautifully done. Now, that particular design of the Free Spirit SS, in my estimation, was copied by Winnebago with their Era 70M, and I think it's 70B now. In fact, if you look at the Winnebago Era 70M/B, it looks almost identical to the Free Spirit SS. I mean, layout, full bath in the back, Murphy bed, cabinetry, almost everything about it looks identical to the Free Spirit SS. Leisure Travel Vans has done some really innovative things, and they continue to do innovative thinking in their Class C products as well to this day. So I really like Leisure Travel Vans, and I love Dean at Leisure Travel Vans. He's the CEO. He is so enthusiastic and so passionate and so funny. And if anything, just go watch some of his presentation videos for his products. He makes you want to buy them right on the spot. Here's just some highlights of Dean at his best selling Leisure Travel Vans.
10, 12 feet from the water's edge. That's perfect. That's the great advantage of a Free Spirit SS, or all the Free Spirits, because we're small, we can go anywhere we want. Nice big shower area. You're gonna love the Free Spirit SS if you like to have long shower and lots of storage area underneath the sink area for pots and pans and anything you need to take. You can take the whole kitchen sink with you. So now we have the slide out, and you can see, man, if we ever got space, you could have a little dance in here. I've had apartments that didn't have this much room, but this is incredible to be in a smaller unit like this. The slide out gives us so much more living area. I just love it.
My next question is from Eugene. And Eugene says, my reason to have an RV is very similar to yours. The Ascent looked perfect until I found out that it's not four-season ready. I need a winter-ready RV with good snow traction. Thank you very much for any information. Well, you're absolutely right. The Ascent is not all-weather, and they do not offer a 4x4 option. As you know, when you put a 4x4 coach on a 4x4 chassis, the center of gravity gets raised up by several inches. It could be 4, 5, 6 inches. And so with a lot of components on the roof, like solar panels, and you have your cabinetry, and you have your air conditioner up there and other things, your center of gravity is higher. And they're very worried, especially with four-wheel drive and people taking them off-road, that there might be a tendency for it to, go over. So Pleasureway is just not comfortable with that. Other RV manufacturers are, and it could be because they have a lower center of gravity, or their comfort factor might just be lower. Road Trek's SS Agile they do have a 4x4 SS Agile, but it is not four-season capable. So in order to have a RV be all-season ready, they have to move the freshwater tank into the coach so it's not exposed to the elements outside. And then all the water lines that connect up to your freshwater tank also need to be on the inside. If any part of them are exposed on the outside, then they run the risk of being frozen. Then you have to put heaters on your external holding tanks. So if you have a gray water holding tank, it needs to be heated. If you have black water, it needs to be heated. If you have a cassette toilet, it's on the inside of your rig, then it doesn't need to be heated. As long as you have the coach heated, then that tank shouldn't freeze. Now, there are a couple options for you with regards to Class B camper vans that are 4-season ready. The first one is from Winnebago, and it's a Winnebago Paseo built on the Ford Transit platform. And Winnebago advertises that one as 4-season ready. So all the things that I talked about, it accomplishes, and it can be used in the winter weather. It's not 4x4. Winnebago Revel is also 4-season ready, and it's 4-wheel drive. So you might want to check out the Revel. In fact, it's the only Class B RV that I'm aware of that is both 4x4 and all-season ready. So check it out. I'm going to be doing a review of it in the future and giving you my thoughts, but if anyone here has seen it and would like to leave comments or their experience or what they've seen in the comment section below, I'm sure many of us would find that very helpful. Now, Winnebago also makes the Travato 59G and the Travato 59K. And they're not advertised by Winnebago as all season. However, the freshwater tank is on the inside, and all the lines are plumbed on the inside. And you can get an option with it where the tanks are heated. So check, check, check. I think the reason why Winnebago does not advertise it as 4-season ready is because James, and I don't know if it's because of James, but James over at the Fit RV did an in-depth study. He's got a Travato, and he actually used a thermal camera. They went up to very cold weather in the mountains, and he used a thermal camera to measure the temperature in various parts of the rig, including behind cabinetry, to see how things looked. And what he found was, even though the Travato had internally plumbed lines, some of those lines ran up against the exterior walls of the RV and on the floor. And with the thermal gun, you could see that there was just tremendous heat loss in those spaces and places. And I believe at some temperatures like minus 30 degrees outside, the heat loss, even though the lines were on the inside of the cab, the heat loss, the rate of heat loss was so high that it was still in danger of freezing up those water lines. So I believe that that's most likely why Winnebago does not advertise the Travato as being winter ready. However, you could make modifications to that, have a winter ready RV. If you wanted to go in and put some insulation in or put some heat strips in on those lines in those sections, you could probably make the Travato all-season RV. Thank you for your question. Robert Farrington asks, I really like your video regarding quality of some of the camping vans. What's your opinion of the advanced RV camping vans regarding quality? Well, Robert, I've gotten a ton of questions about advanced RV from viewers like you. And here's my thoughts about advanced RV. First of all, they're out of Ohio and I'm from Ohio and I love that, so go advanced RV. Secondly, they have excellent quality. They're top quality. But I would expect that because they are a custom build shop. So with advanced RV, you tell them and specify exactly, they'll help you with floor plans and things, but it's a custom shop. So in that sense, they're not, in my book, they're not really an RV manufacturer in the sense that they have their own different product lines that they are manufacturing and then selling through a dealer network. Advanced RV will custom build and then you will go pick it up or they'll ship it out and deliver it to you. So I would expect extremely high quality. Now, if you guys want, I'd be happy to do a more in-depth episode on Advanced RV for you with that in mind. You know, just looking at them as a company and looking at some of their products, and maybe if I'd be able to interview them. I don't know if they'd want to do an interview with me, but if they would, I'd be happy to look into doing that as well. So let me know in the comment section. But the quality of Advanced RV is extremely high. They get very high marks from owners, and you can go to their site, you can look at their videos, and you can tell right away that they have high quality. Subscriber Casa Priel. I'm not sure if I've pronounced your username correctly, and I apologize. And Casa Priel asks, have you looked at the Heimer Active? Any thoughts test driving one next week? Yes, I do have thoughts on the Heimer Active, and I'm going to share them with you. I took a look at the Heimer Active just a few weeks ago in person. I had seen a lot of videos about it, and of course the We're the Russos channel with Joe and Kate Russo, they are full-timing out of their Heimer Active, and I watch religiously their series every week. You should check them out if you haven't. I'll put them up there. Great series. And here's my thought on the Heimer Active. I like it. I think it's an interesting layout. They've taken, you know, Erwin Heimer is a large European RV manufacturer, and they recently came over to North America, and in order to get into the North American market, they bought out Road Trek. So Erwin Heimer North American Group is effectively Road Trek, and Road Trek effectively operates Erwin Heimer North American Group. So the first thing about the Heimer Active that I like is I think it's very innovative in terms of its design. It has a much more European design. So it has the lounge up front, and they utilize the cab very well, where the front two seats can turn around, and then you have a table, and you have another two seats that are behind the two front seats. They're kind of small. They state that two people can sit there, but I've seen it. I don't think two adults could sit in those seats if you're traveling. Maybe two children could, which would be great. But it utilizes that space really well. And then in the back, it has a permanent bedroom. Now, a lot of people like a permanent bedroom because it means that you don't have to make up the bed every night and then tear it back down in the morning. So that saves a lot of time and effort, especially in one of these small vans. The other nice thing about the Active is that the bed can stow up, so you can turn that into a large cargo area in the back. So it's very versatile. So you have a bedroom / cargo area, and then you have this permanent lounge in the front. And then the midsection, like most Class B camper vans, they have the bathroom and the kitchen. I personally, I'm not full-timing out of my RV. I could see the value of having a permanent bedroom in the back, but I'm not full-timing out of the RV, so I prefer designs like my Ascent where I have the lounge in the back and it can be converted into a bed. And the only reason for that is because my use case is more of a mobile office, is more of a daily driver. I'm using the back more like for this, where I'm recording, or I might be having a meeting. There's room for 5 people to sit around the table back here. That's more of my use case. And so the Heimer Active would not work for me because the lounge in the front is just not as conducive for that. I also like having all the large panoramic picture windows, as you see here around me in the back. It's just, for me, a unique selling point, and it makes me feel really open when I'm back here. But if I were full-timing out of my RV, then I would probably want some type of permanent bed set up. Whether or not that's a permanent bed like the Heimer Active has, or it's a permanent bed like the Era 70A has, which has 2 permanent twin beds, I'm not sure, but I could definitely see the value of having a permanent bed in the back. Now, one thing that concerns me about the Heimer is its build quality. I've owned a Road Trek, and I've had some build quality issues with the Road Trek, and I'm not saying they haven't worked on that and improved it. It's just my experience has been the Road Trek that I owned, the 2014 CS Adventurous, had build quality issues. And knowing that Erwin North America Group is effectively Road Trek gives me a bit of a pause for quality. So I would need to look very close at how it's built and what is the level of quality in the Active before I could make a decision about purchasing one. That's just my opinion about it. A really great question comes from David Huff, who says, I'd enjoy hearing your take on Pleasureway's somewhat odd, in my mind, dichotomy between really cutting-edge RV tech like lithium-ion batteries and kind of old-school stuff like absorption refrigerators and lots of reliance on propane. Is there a method to their madness? David, I have wrestled with this same question in my mind since I purchased my Pleasureway Ascent a year ago, for the same reasons as you. And here's what this is the conclusion I've come to. I believe that Pleasureway is very much like Apple in the sense that they are a company who is dedicated to quality and their customers. That's the hallmark of a luxury brand and a quality brand. And because of that, they have a higher standard level for any new technology that they incorporate into their products. They have to make sure that when they incorporate new technology into their product lines, that it doesn't add any friction with the customer. It doesn't cause the customer any grief. The customer experience isn't any way diminished. I liken this to Apple with the iPhone. If you look at the iPhone, Apple, when they released it, they didn't even have cut and paste, if you remember. And cut and paste was available on Android phones for much longer, almost a year before it became available on the iPhone. And the reason for this was because Steve Jobs had not figured out a way to do cut and paste that was acceptable to him in terms of customer experience. But when they did figure it out, boy did they figure it out, and now it's a standard across all mobile devices, the way that they handled cut and paste. So it was revolutionary at the time, the way iPhone handled cut and paste. And I think that mentality holds through today with the iPhone. If you look at it, they're not the first to come out with 3D cameras. They never came out with an iPhone with 3D cameras. You could find them all over the place on Android, but Apple waited to see. They waited to see, is this a technology that users want? And if it is a technology that users want, can we do it in a way that will enhance their experience? Ultimately, that was a fad and it faded out, and they never needed to do it. I look at Pleasureway when I put on my kind of executive strategy hat that I wear here in Silicon Valley. I see the same patterns in Pleasureway as a company. So for instance, Pleasureway has put, and they're industry leading in this sense, they've put lithium-ion batteries in every single one of their coaches. Now it's a head scratcher, and like you said, you may think, well, why did they do that? Like that's so advanced for them. Well, I believe they did it because lithium-ion batteries have been tried and tested in the broader automotive industry. So you have companies like the Chevy Volt and now the Chevy Bolt, and you have the Tesla products, all using much larger banks of lithium-ion batteries and having proven through millions and millions of miles and lots of cycles that this is a safe technology for the broader automotive industry. I mean, if you're able to pull that much power, 16,000 amp hours of power through a battery bank to propel a car down the freeway at 80 miles an hour, you can certainly put 200 amp hours of lithium-ion batteries into a motorhome coach, drawing much smaller amounts of current to run your LED lights and microwave. And so for them, I think they looked at that and said, you know what? We're going to get a huge bang for a buck. We're going to create a better user experience for our customers. And we know that we have a level of confidence that it's a proven technology. So they pulled the trigger and they put lithium-ion batteries in all their coaches. So why haven't they moved to compressor refrigerators? Well, let's step through this a little bit. A compressor refrigerator is great because they rely solely on the compressor motor for compressing the refrigerant to keep the refrigerator cool. But what that means is that the compressor has to be running, if you have it on, 24/7. And while they are low amperage, over time they do consume a lot of power. Believe me, I had one and I ran it all the time, day and night, when I had it in my CS Adventurous. And it was great and it was convenient. But I live in sunny California. Even in the winters, like today, it's sunny here. I get lots of amperage from the sun. I had 3 solar arrays on the roof of my road trek. I had extra battery banks to store the power, so overnight it could draw from those battery banks. If you put compressor refrigerators in rigs and you don't have things like lots of solar arrays, so if you're on a short unit like this and you're not putting solar panels covering the top of the RV, including the air conditioner with solar panels, then you have to have other types of sources of power to recharge your battery bank. So you have to do things like underhood generators. That's your only other choice, is to, if you're not going to have a propane generator, then you're going to have to do some other type of generator to generate power, and your only other choice is an under the hood generator. Now that's the technology that I believe, not the compressor refrigerator, the under the hood generator. That's the technology I believe that is unproven, and I believe that is why Pleasureway has not moved to compressor refrigerators, is until they have a level of confidence that the underhood generator is not going to cause long-term damage to the engine of the Mercedes, then I don't think they're willing to pull the trigger. And those underhood generators have not been out long enough to have enough long-term data to know if they are causing more maintenance or if they are causing more problems. I can tell you this, the Mercedes manual, owner's manual for the Sprinter explicitly tells you not to idle the engine for long periods of time. So if you find yourself in traffic, or if these are being used as delivery trucks and you're leaving it in the middle of a city idling, they're instructing you not to do that. Instead, they say shut your engine off. And that's because the way the diesel engine works, their diesel engine works, and perhaps with their emission control systems that they have in them, they're just not convinced that you're going to do the engine good by having them idle at long periods of time. But that's exactly what an underhood generator does, is it idles the diesel engine for long periods of time. And so they have to put a governor on them to actually bring them up to a higher RPM, to around 2000 RPM. And again, there's not enough data, I don't think, to let us know what the effect of that is on the diesel engine, having it idle at 2000 RPMs for long periods of time. So that's I don't know, but I believe that's probably why Pleasureway has not moved to compressor refrigerators. It's not about the refrigerator itself, it's about the other necessary components that have to be there in order to ensure that that refrigerator has enough power to run 24/7. You don't have those issues with a 3-way refrigerator. Driving down the road, it's charging off of the regular alternator in the cab. If you're plugged into shore power, it's running off of there. And in between, if it's overnight or if it's not a sunny day and there's just not a lot of sunlight, it's running off of propane and it's sipping the propane. So having a 3-way refrigerator gives companies 3 separate energy sources, and it does it in a way that it doesn't require them to use untested technologies that may in the long run, or may not, have unintended consequences with the reliability of the chassis and the chassis engine. That's my explanation for the method to their madness. I hope that makes sense. If you have a theory, or any of you want to share your thoughts, please do so in the comment section below. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. What a great episode. I really loved all of your questions. It really makes it interesting for me, and I think it's really helpful, I hope, for you guys. If you have anything that you want to add to, any questions, clarifications, or your own experiences, we have a great community growing here. Just add them in the comment section below. Feel free to jump in, answer other people's questions. It's what this channel is all about. If you like this video, I would really love for you to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing. Just hit that subscribe button that you see on the screen, and you'll be informed as soon as a new video hits, which is every Tuesday. But sometimes I also release videos in between as a surprise, and you'll be the first to know. We'll see you again next week with a surprise. I'm working on something special for you all, and I can't wait to show it to you. Take care. Bye.